Welcome to High Point University's How to Land That Job series, part of HPU's commitment to fostering life skills and preparing students to render value in the global marketplace. Today's episode features Cynt Marshall, HPU's sports executive in residence and the CEO of Mark Cuban's Dallas Mavericks.
Now, the theme of today is bringing your A game to the
Yes.
interview.
Yes.
All right. And we know with any game, preparation is necessary, even for the interview process.
Yes.
Could you speak on that a little bit more about the preparation of an interview process?
Yes. Okay, so first of all, I think you need to figure out who exactly you are interviewing with.
Yes.
Okay, so you need to research the company. And so I'm gonna talk to you and I'm gonna talk to them too.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
so you need to research the company, and go deep. What is this company about? What are their values? Always look for their values because you want to make sure they're aligned with your core values. And if they don't have values, then it's a red flag. Okay, so you want to know why they haven't thought about that. And then maybe, you get them to think about that and you bring that. But that's something you want to look at. You want to know kind of their track record. So you just want to know everything you can know about them. You want to look at who's there, who's in leadership, what are their stories, and then you definitely want to prepare for the actual interviewer. So you see if you can research the interviewer. Always try to see if you can find out who is actually going to interview you. And part of why, and I'm sure we'll talk about it too, part of why you want to do that is because you want to establish a connection early and throughout the process, the interview process. So you want to interview that as well. Prepare for that as well. You also want to find out who their competitors are. So prepare in terms of looking at that industry and who are the competitors, because the last thing you want to do is sit there and, start saying something great about one of the competitors. Like, wow, do they know? Like, we're competing with them? Okay, and sometimes that's okay, but you just at least want to know that. And then obviously you want to prepare your questions that you have for them, but you also want to prepare questions you think they might have for you, and then get somebody to role play, you role play your answers and all that. And part of it is the repetition, because when you get nervous, which we all do, we're in an interview, when you get nervous, you're in automatic. And so if you practice a lot, then it just kind of comes out, okay?
Wow, thank you. You answered most of my questions in that one sentence right there.
Oh, I'm
that
sorry.
One page right there.
I'm sorry.
That's huge, and I love that you mentioned values. And I think a lot of the time we interview and we get a little bit nervous, and like you mentioned, making sure that our values align with the company values. Exactly. So that's huge.
Exactly. Even like prepare and thinking about getting nervous, like what are you going to wear?
Yeah.
You don't want to wear something like if you start perspiring and they can see that. Okay, so I'm just telling y'all, it matters. All that kind of stuff, it just matters.
Yeah. That kind of segues perfectly into the next kind of question. So with most interviews, the first question is, tell me about yourself. Could you provide some insight on how you answer that question, or some things that can help you stand out when answering that?
Yes. Okay, so you want to have a concise answer. You want them to say, tell me more, as opposed to kind of cutting you off. Like, that's why even this morning when Doug asked me, he asked me a question, I said, well, you want me to start at the beginning or what? Because I kind of need to know how long I got 61 years to talk about. So I need to know how long we have. So you want a concise answer. And so you want to, especially like at your ages, you just want to give kind of where you were, kind of where you're, born and raised. Obviously, they know where you went to school, okay? But you can say, graduate of High Point University, what you major in, and they see all that, okay? So you want to tell them a lot of stuff, not a lot of stuff, but a little bit of what they don't know. So you want to include maybe some of your hobbies, if it's not on there. And then you always want to end with how excited you are to be there and why you are happy about being in this interview and how that connects. You have to connect that with who you are. So just a little bit about your background, why you're happy to be there, and why you absolutely feel like this is the right job for you.
I hope y'all wrote that.
You got to
down.
make them say,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I have got to find out more about this person.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned the connection piece. Everyone communicates, but only a few connect.
Yes,
Yeah.
you have to connect.
Have
You
to
have to
connect.
connect. Yes. And so if you have in your research uncovered some kind of natural connection you have with the interviewer, you make sure that that piece comes out. And then they'll say, oh, really? I actually, blah, blah, blah. You're thinking to myself, I already know. Okay, I already know. That's why I brought it up.
That's huge. Next, you mentioned with the experience and where High Point University students are right now. We know that hopefully before they do their full-time job search, they had some type of internship
Yes.
or apprenticeship
Yes.
type of experience to build their strengths. How do I identify my strengths with limited experience?
Okay, so I love that question. First of all, I mean, there are all kind of assessments that you can take, and I'm sure they probably have some right here on campus. And you need to take those assessments because they will help you get in touch with some things that you may not be in touch with. Sometimes we don't stop to really think about how great and how fabulous we are and what our strong suits are, because we're just sometimes, some of us aren't wired to do that. So this school has assessments in place that will help you get in touch with your strengths and your opportunities, okay? Because we don't have any weaknesses. The strengths are opportunities, right? So you want to know how to put your best self out there. And then you have a decision to make. Do you want an internship that plays to your strengths, or are you trying to develop something? And if you end up making the decision that you want an internship to help you develop something, that needs to be real clear with your employer that, I'm really trying to develop this. Is this an opportunity for me to really develop this? Because the last thing you want is some employer to think that's a strength, and it's not, and then they're going to find that out within the first few days. Because it's actually okay to have internships to help develop something. I actually provide some of those, but that's rare, but it can help you with that. And then think about, and I'm actually going to talk about that just a little bit in the skills, the leadership piece later on this afternoon. Think about kind of over your life where you have truly excelled at something and why you excelled at it, because it will help you get in touch with your strengths. And your strengths are necessarily your passions. Sometimes you're really, really passionate about something. Like I am passionate about music. I cannot sing. I don't play an instrument, and I can dance, okay? So I wouldn't try to pursue, something in that field. But think about just your past. What are you really strong in? What are you developing? What has gotten you to the point where you are now? You have some strengths, even at your age. You have some strengths, and so you play to those. And sometimes be open about be open about the job, the employer, the industry. Try to go somewhere where you can capitalize on those, unless you're trying to develop something.
That's huge. That's all good information. And gems, please write them down.
Because you do need to develop. There's some areas, depending on the work you want to do, there are some things that you will want to develop that you will just not have had an opportunity to develop by the time you get out of school or start working. And which is why, like on my team, all of our folks have individual development plans. No matter where they are in their career, no matter how old they are, I have one. Everybody has an individual development plan that identifies their strengths and then areas of opportunities and areas that they truly would like to develop. Some areas you don't want to develop. You may not want to be the CFO, so you don't want to develop, okay, that. But then there are some areas you just need to develop to be successful in the workplace.
That's huge. You mentioned that we have no weaknesses here at High Point. University of High Point students, we have no weaknesses, but we have areas of improvement.
Yes, we do.
All right.
We all do.
And there's things that can be learned in areas of improvement. Can you talk about the importance of that? I may not be great at this, but I need this to pursue the thing that I want, and I can learn from it.
Oh, absolutely. Some people don't like, and I'm going to end up giving you a personal example, but some people don't really want to communicate. They don't want to stand up in front of people. They would prefer to be behind the scenes. They don't want to talk to the camera. They don't want to talk to the boss. They just want to be behind the scenes doing what they do. We need to develop communication skills. period, written and verbal. You just need to do that to be successful. So figure out how to do that, even if you're a little bit nervous. You just cannot get through life saying, I just want to be behind the scenes. And that's great that you might want to be, but every now and then, somebody's going to need you to come out front. And so you need to be able to communicate and feel good about that. So however you figure out how to do that, whether it's, some social activity, some club that you're in, church, whatever it is, develop your communication skills. Again, written and verbal. You need to do that. And then I love math. I love numbers. I want to be a math teacher growing up, okay? Engineering major, and then I changed to business because I just fell in love. I took one business class and I just fell in love with it and said, I want to go work corporate America, and I want to lead, all that. And then my second job ended up being an engineer in our company. And so even though I didn't want to pursue that, fortunately, I had developed all my math skills and analytical skills and everything I needed to be successful in that job. Yeah. And then I got away from it as soon as I could, but I still had it. I still had it because somebody made me develop those skills, and I was so glad they have. Wow. To this day, in the job that I'm in now, because I'm responsible for profit and loss, yeah. I have to have an analytical eye. I use numbers every day.
Wow.
Every day. So I'm so glad that I actually developed those skills and did stay away from it.
Wow. So that kind of summarizes, I think a lot of students, they think that I want to work for the NBA. I have to have an internship for my freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year in the NBA. But you're saying that there's some skills I can learn from a variety of places.
Exactly. And that's what I look for. I honestly, I have to tell you, I never look at anybody's resume and say, where have you done your internships? And have you had a sports internship, or have you been in the NBA? I never look at that. I look at the jobs they've had. Well, first I listen to them, and I look at the jobs they've had in terms of the skills that they had to use in those jobs. What kind of accomplishments did they have in those jobs? Where did they learn? What did they learn? I look at all that. If you know sports and you know that environment, great. If there's an expertise that you already have or something you want to pursue, that's great to communicate with me. But honestly, that is not what I look for. Okay. Now, maybe there are some employers who say, now for a particular job, they may want you to have that. But when I'm bringing in new hires, I look for that discipline of, what you did at school. I like the fact that you finished, okay, because it means, and we have people who are non-degreed, but it means that you were disciplined enough and focused enough and committed enough to finish something that you started. And so I like that. Yes, it's a plus, it's High Point University, okay, because I know it's a fabulous place, okay? I have a High Point University graduate in my house, okay? But I just look at the different kinds of skills that you have and what you want to get done. And if you have that internship, great. If you don't, that's great. We give internships. We provide internships. Last few summers I've had interns, and some of them from High Point University.
Thank you for sharing. I can't reiterate that enough. Discipline. Discipline, that's a one word that you can write down that can help you stand out in anything that you want to do. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
The next question, get this question a lot here at High Point. We are overachievers and we want to be the best.
And you are the best.
And we are the best. Yes. And we're extraordinary.
Yes.
What are some things, that two-part question, what are some things that Cynt Marshall does to be extraordinary? And then what's something that you could provide us, an action step to help us also be extraordinary in our journey?
I love that. And you are extraordinary. I am a person to prepare. Like, I am over the top crazy when it comes to preparation. Now, I do have to do a lot of things on the fly. Sometimes I might have to do a media interview or something on the fly, but I like to prepare. Like, I like to know what I am doing, who I'm talking to. I want to research them. I want to know how many kids they got. I did an interview with someone the other day, big broadcaster. If I said her name, you all would know her. And just in the course of that interview, I said something about being a DG. I said, I know you're a Tri-Delt. And she went, like, how does she know that? Because, sister, I read, okay? I want to know. And so in my calendar at work, if I have an event coming up, my team has just about everything I need to know about that event. So usually every weekend, Every weekend, I'm looking at my calendar for for the following week, and I have a certain amount of time. I do my weekend like in 5 different increments. Okay,
Yeah.
so I have at least 2 or 3 of those increments where it's devoted to preparing for something for the next week. Because if there's something missing in the calendar item, like if there's a bio on a person that's missing, I'm not gonna bother my team on the weekend. I'll just go and find it. But I just wanna prepare. I wanna get all that stuff in my head, because
Yeah.
I just wanna be ready, because I think it's also respectful of that person's time, okay, that I actually got a chance to really research them. So I prepare, like no matter what meeting it is. Again, I can do stuff impromptu on the fly, but that's not how I prefer to operate. I like to know what I'm doing, so
Yeah.
I can handle my business. And so that's the advice I would give to all of you, is to really prepare no matter what it is. Sometimes we want to take shortcuts. Only take the shortcut if you have to. If something happens, then you have to. But plan it. Plan your life, plan your weeks, plan your weekends, know what's coming up the next week so you can be ready. Because sometimes I know for me, if I'm off my game, it's usually because I didn't prepare. It's like I didn't practice.
Wow.
You got to practice. Now, that's all preparation is. You got to practice, because at some point it just needs to be automatic.
I mean, that if we go back to the purpose, and this is how to bring your A game to the interview. I mean, some commonalities that you just mentioned. One, discipline. Or first, let's start with number 1, preparation.
Yes.
Then staying disciplined to that schedule.
Yes.
Or that preparation schedule, so that it becomes routine, because practice makes perfect.
Yes.
It's huge.
Yes. Yes.
So,
And if you have an interview where you just feel like you didn't answer that question the way you wanted to, when that interview is over, don't let it be that it's over. Maybe the actual conversation is over, but it's not over for you. You got to go back and figure out, what is the answer to that question? Why didn't I feel good about that? What is the answer? And you might have to ask somebody. You might say, you know what, Mr. Floyd, I didn't answer that question the way I wanted to, and I just can't nail down what I want to say there. Kind of help me.
wow.
And you would help me.
Wow.
I mean, you would ask me enough questions to where you'd give me the answer, because you want to have some good, quick answers to some of these questions that are just kind of routine, and they need to be quick.
Wow. Takes courage to do that. Would you agree?
Yes,
Yeah.
but you want to nail it. I mean, you want to nail it, and so you might have to go to somebody that, you know, you're comfortable with, and just say, I can't quite, because sometimes, like, you have the words, but you might have too many of them. So you're like, okay, I can't give them the 10-minute answer, okay, because I only have like 1 minute left. Or I can't say exactly that because maybe that's like offensive. I don't know if they'd understand what I'm really saying. So then you just like practice. And we all have those times in interviews and those conversations where it just didn't come out right, or we just couldn't pull it up. And so go back and revisit that so you can nail it the next time that it comes up. And then if it doesn't come up and they say, is there anything else you want to tell us? You say, well, yes, you know, I was thinking, and then you just tell it.
Wow.
Always have that answer for, what else would you like to tell me? How would you like to close this? Always be ready to just, and you need to have a few of them, because maybe something, you know, you got to have a few of them, because if you only have one and they already asked you that, then you're sitting there going, well, you already asked me that. No, have a few of them. And then you just glance down and say, well, actually, yes. And then get your powerful close and practice it on people.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully you have a circle of people that are just like totally honest with you. I mean, you can ask your parents. I mean, they'll be honest with you. I'm like that with my kids. I'm like, please don't tell me you said that. And like, yeah, Mom, because I just thought. I'm like, next time talk to me in advance, because I don't think you should have said that. And they're like, no, Mom, it's a new generation. I'm like, some stuff is still real. Okay, some stuff sounds crazy. So talk to somebody that can help you kind of like nail that down.
Love that. Love that. Networking.
Yes.
It's can be a bit scary sometimes,
Yes.
right? We
Yes.
don't know how to really do it. It's really an art a little bit. Could you provide us some tips for provide us tips for how to get over those nerves? Because
Yes.
it's something that we all have to do.
Yes, because you have to, and that's one of the pieces of advice I give is show up. You must be present to win, period. You have to show up. And that would, believe it or not, that was the hardest thing for me when I first started working, because I know y'all don't believe this, but I was actually pretty quiet and kind of, in the corner. I know, look at he's about to pass out. He's like, no way. Okay. I was, because I had this mindset where put your head down and handle your business. Okay. Don't talk about it, be about it. Work. Okay. And so that's how I grew up in school. That's how I started working. Just get behind the scenes, work. I told a boss one time, he called me Cindy. Cindy, what you gonna do next? And I said, my job is to get my current job done. Your job is to worry about my next one. I just had my head down. And so I was kind of quiet. I didn't want to talk a whole lot. I just wanted to work. And different things would come up, network opportunities or conferences and different events, and I wouldn't show up. And I had a boss tell me one time, Cynt, we missed you last night. And I told her, yeah, I went home. She's like, no, that was for everybody. Like, you needed to show up. And so she would tell me what all was going on there. And the more she talked about how many people were there and what they were doing, the more I decided, oh, I'm so glad I didn't go. And then I realized, no, that's where a lot of things happen. That's where you learn about people. That's where you learn about the companies. That's where you learn about the industry. That's where you could find your next opportunity or somebody to help you in your current opportunity. So you have to show up. Wow. And what you have to do, usually if you can, I like to show up with somebody. Okay, because if you can, or if you know somebody who's going to be there, because you can start off with that person or in a little circle that you're comfortable with, even if you're not saying a whole lot. Now, you need to throw something in there every now and then, okay? But sometimes it really is just about showing up. You don't have to think, you don't have to show up and be the life of the party. You don't have to show up and take over, but just be there. And then you stand there long enough, and then you go into another circle. And I have learned how to just go in and say, hi, how are you? I'm Cynt, put my hand out. Now, hopefully we'll get back to the point where we can do a lot of in-person stuff. And I've had it to where people will say, okay, great. And then they go and keep talking. And then I move on around in there with them. And I just want them to know, like, I'm right here. And sometimes they're looking, I just smile. And I say, okay, now I'll tell them what I do. And I'm saying, okay, now, you kind of look familiar. Like, what do you do? I mean, you just slowly. Okay. And I had to learn how to do that. Because sometimes people will look at you like, why are you standing here? Wow. Well, I'm standing here because I walked up. That's why I'm standing here. And so I want to be in on this conversation. You just have to do it. And I'm actually helping somebody through this right now. Wow. And so I'm actually going to show up at an event with her in a couple of weeks because she is just not having a breakthrough. And so I'm going to physically show up and help her work through this. And sometimes you need to have somebody help you do that.
Well, we're with you, and thank you for helping us. You showed up with us. So preparation, discipline, show up.
Yes.
We're building our game plan.
You must be present to win. That's right.
Show up.
Show up.
Now, preparation, I did a little bit of research,
and
I saw this amazing story that you told. I'm not going to take away from it. I want you to tell it, and I think it would be really beneficial.
All right.
It's about the importance of attitude pre, post, and during the interview. So there's a story, and I don't want to spoil it for the audience, but you mentioned that you had walked out and someone mentioned, said, hey, I'm waiting on CJ Marshall. And I'm gonna stop there because you already know you already know the story. So I'll let you tell the story.
Okay, so it was many years ago. I was a network engineer at AT&T, and this guy was coming to interview. I had a job out, and it was quite a few, multi-million-dollar job, a technical job that this vendor wanted to basically present his proposal and interview and get the bid. And so I was on my way to the restroom, and I stopped, and I know the moral of the story that I know you're going to want to talk to these folks about is you don't know who you're talking to. Okay, you don't know who is in front of you. So you always got to be on top of your game, okay, and watch what you say. So I was actually on my way to the restroom, and I stopped, and I said, "Can I help you?" And he was very nasty. And he said, "Did I ask for your help?" I mean, he was just nasty, and I was stunned. And I said, "Oh, well, I just thought I could help you," because he was kind of, standing outside the doorway. And he said, if I needed help, I would have asked for it. And he was just nasty and turned his back to me. And I was like, wow. And so I went to the restroom. I came back. He was still kind of there. And I said, well, you're still standing here. Can I help you? And he said, I didn't ask for your help. I'm waiting for CG Marshall. When he's ready to see me, I'm sure he'll come out and talk to me. Go and do what you're doing. I'm like, wow, this is heavy. I said, okay. Well, I'm sure CG Marshall will be right out. So I went on back in. And so then when I came out, I said, oh, you are whatever his name was. And he said, yes. I said, hi. I said, I am Cynthia Janelle Marshall. I think probably what you got was CG Marshall. Come right on in. He was stunned because he had been so nasty. And when he sat down, I said, probably goes without saying, this is going to be a pretty quick interview. You're not going to get the bid because I believe in working with people that can get along with people. I believe in working with people that are nice. I believe in working with people that are respectful. I believe in working with people who aren't dismissive of women. So I wish you well with your business. I dismissed him. Like, you need to be nice. That's why my favorite book is The Power of Nice, How to Conquer the Business World with Kindness. You need to be nice. He was just nasty. That's ridiculous. So you just missed out, and he had a pretty good proposal. Fortunately, we had other proposals and better proposals, and he probably wasn't going to get it anyway, but I definitely would have given him his hour or two that I had planned and entertained what he had to say. But if he treated me like that, he's already in the workplace, so you should just come in nice. Who knows how he would have been treating workers in the central offices and all that. So, and he was just, he didn't know what to say.
Wow. So nice attitude with everyone, no matter pre, post, or during the interview.
Be nice and don't judge people. Don't just assume. We have biases. We have to check them. He saw CG Marshall. He knew he was going to a big company. He knew he was going to see an engineer, a network engineer, who was responsible for this big job. He assumed he was going to see a man. He had no idea that he was getting ready to visit with this. At the time, I guess I must have been 23, 24 years old. So in his mind, there's no way this 23-year-old woman, black woman on top of that, is the person he's getting ready to interview for a big multi-million-dollar job. But it was.
Lesson learned. That's not a lesson that you have to do, because you just learned that lesson right here today.
Hey, my friend Alex over here. I love Alex, my young friend. Yeah. Alex came and met me out there, right? And I said, I don't know Alex, right? He's just a young man, fine young man. Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, but you know what? Alex could be Nito as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if Alex is getting ready to interview me. I don't know who Alex is, but Alex, I'm going to respect Alex. And we shook hands and talked, and I said, Alex, he'll tell you. I said, what we're getting ready to do here? Because I don't know who Alex is, okay? But I'm nice to Alex. I'm respecting Alex, okay? We're getting ready to have a relationship. And he came right down here, and actually, we did end up talking about something that was fabulous, okay? Something that's fabulous. But I'm like, oh, no, Alex is the man. I didn't know who he was, but I know him now. Know him now. Let's give it up for Alex. My new young friend here.
Takes courage to do something like that.
And that will happen a lot, especially with young people. I was young in my career. I was like 2-3 years out of school. And so I would get that all the time. People just couldn't believe I had the job that I had, or I was, in the position I was in, or doing something. And so not only do you not want to do that, you just need to be prepared for being on the receiving end of that kind of crazy stuff. It happens. But Alex, I respected you, didn't I? Yeah, I sure did. I'm like, anybody that approaches me, like you are somebody. Wow. You are somebody.
That's amazing, and it goes to the last question I have for you today, and I believe that you're...
Are we out of time? What time is our thing open?
Oh no, we're gonna take, before we go from audience.
I got a list too. I got to make sure I rail off my list. I prepared for y'all, okay? I got to make sure I rail off my list too.
Yes, okay, we're going to get to your list. I promise you. 3 L's.
Yes.
I mean, you mentioned how Alex came up to you, and everybody is somebody.
Yes. Yes.
Now, I think that the 3 L's I'll let you tell what it is, but I think it goes well with that.
Okay, are any of you coming to the leadership seminar later? Okay, so not too many, so that's good because I'm actually going to cover this, so I don't want to cover it twice. Okay, so my 3 L's of leadership that I have learned over the years is listen, learn, and love. So I believe in order for me to be an effective leader, I have to listen to the people. I mean, all the people, and obviously I operate at a pretty high level, but I listen to the receptionists. I've listened to the security guards. I listen to the people who are cleaning up our floors because everybody has something to say, and I don't just listen to just, I listen to understand. I really want to understand. Everybody has something to say and something worthy of our ears. Okay, so listen to the people, which is why I have lots of one-on-ones. Every time I take over a place, I try to have at least a couple of hundred just one-on-ones. I mean, sometimes if I'm managing tens of thousands of people, and I've done that in my career, you can't have one-on-one with everybody. But I try to at least go down to that layer where at least it's a couple hundred people because I can retain all of that. So my job is to listen to the people, to learn from the people. There's just no way I would know everything that I need to know in any job that I'm in, especially this one, because I didn't grow up in the business of basketball. I wasn't a sport management major like some of you. I just didn't even know the business of basketball, okay? So I had to learn a lot, and I learned it from the people actually doing the work, which is why I'm big on one-on-ones, ride days, all that. I like to sit with the people doing the work. And so it's to listen to the people, learn from the people, and truly love the people, and love them as people, not as employees, to truly love who they are, what they bring, the backgrounds they have, what they're trying to do in life, what they're trying to do in their families, and to realize that I have a role to play as a leader in helping them realize their dreams, helping them take care of their kids, helping them take care of their elderly families. I mean, the decisions I make impact people's lives. And if I love these people, I'm going to be very thoughtful about those decisions. When we used to do personnel and salary, we do annual compensation meetings, and I would come in with a red wagon, and I'd have a red wagon of files, and then I'd have bread, a loaf of bread, fake food, all that, and then I would put all that on the table. College books, all that. And so they'd look and say, Cynt, what is that? I said, well, what we're getting ready to do impacts people's ability to put bread on the table. I touched a loaf of bread, touched the food. I said, send their kids to college. I had a little college thing there. I would go through all that. Wow. I said, we love these people, and we want them to have great lives. And the decisions we make today impact that. That's what this is all about. So every time we talk about something, I point to that piece of bread. I said, does that impact somebody's ability to put a loaf of bread on the table? And they go, well, I said, think about it. Those are decisions we make. That's how important they are. So, gotta love the people.
Wow. Listen, learn, love.
That's it.
That's
it. That's it.
Well, I'm going to share love and pass it over.
Yes. Okay, so let me give you my list, okay? Let me give you my list. And some of this, we already talked about it. So my interview tips: be ready, be early. That's why I was watching the clock when we started. I said, we can't start late because I'm going to tell the people to be early, okay? So be ready, be early, be realistic, be curious, be grateful. And just I'm going to go through them real quick. So practice how you're going to walk in, practice how you're going to show up on the screen, practice your opening, your eye contact, okay? If you're virtual, your screen, what's behind you? I mean, I did an interview with somebody the other day, and he has some wild pictures behind him. And honestly, I'm trying to focus on him, but I'm trying to figure out what is going on behind him in some of these pictures, okay? You don't want anything that's a distraction like that, okay? Practice how you're going to walk through your resume. If somebody says, kind of just walk me through the highlights of your resume, because you cannot assume an employer has read it because they're very busy. I did an interview the other day. I said, kind of walk me through your resume. He said, well, you have it all right there. What questions do you have? And I'm thinking, well, you know what? I just got it, though, because you just got scheduled at the last minute, so I ain't really read it. I'm like, well, okay, then. He could, and actually, he couldn't really take me through it. I mean, it was like the straightest interview. So practice walking through your resume in case somebody says, take me through it, because either they haven't had time or they have a lot of questions and they need to hear what you have to say about those particular jobs. And then I already talked about being able to answer particular questions and getting feedback on your responses from others. Prepare your questions, core values, we talked about that. Research the interview so you can make a connection early and stay away from any sensitivities. Research the company we talked about. Know where you want to go, because sometimes people will say, and I do this often, I will say, tell me where you see yourself 5 years from now, okay? So be realistic about that, but know where you want to go, be humble about it, but actually, saying I'm willing to start, down here or wherever, but know where you want to go. Show them that you have some thoughts about being there for a while and you have some aspirations, okay? And sometimes you could say, well, sometimes maybe there's not enough on a company. When you do your research, there's not enough for you to kind of figure out where you want to go, and that's okay to say that too. And then be early. And so early is not on time, it's early. Like you want to show up early. Like especially Zoom or Teams or whatever interview, they show up, when they get on the screen, you just want to be sitting there smiling, like waiting on them. And then they'll say, oh, am I late? And it's like, oh no, because they think they're getting on early, and you're like right there to greet them. It's like, no, we're early. Like both of us are early. I'm so excited to be here, so I came early. Okay, and then relax. Figure out whatever your strategy is to somehow relax, whether you take a deep breath, whether there's just something you think about. Do whatever it is before that interview starts to try to relax yourself as best as you possibly can, because you might get a little nervous as it goes on, but at least you want to start out in the best position of relaxation that you can. And also speak slowly. I learned that a long time ago. I actually am a very fast talker. And I was talking so fast when I first started working that people honestly couldn't understand what I was saying. And they would always say that again, say that again. I'm like, what's wrong with these people? Can they hear? Well, you know what? When everybody has to keep saying that, maybe I'm talking too fast. And so I actually have someone who works for me right now. And so I'm coaching her. I said, you just have to slow down. Like nobody understands what you're saying. Sometimes that's nerves, and sometimes that's just how you're raised. You talk fast. But slow down. Slow down so the interviewer can really understand you. And then admit what you don't know. Sometimes you'll get a question from an interviewer, and if you really don't know the answer to that, don't fake it, because they'll know in 5 seconds you don't know the answer. Just say, I really don't know the answer to that. Is there a way I can get back to you on that? And then just try to have that dialogue. Don't feel bad that you don't know it. You just don't know it. I mean, you can't know everything, but don't try to fake it, because that's just the worst thing. Because then the interviewer is like, okay, they just should have said, I don't know the answer to that. And don't think you should have known it. You just don't know it. And that is okay, but always offer to get back, or say, I need a little more context on that. Can I get a little more context? And then maybe sometime in the dialogue you can understand what the question is, because sometimes maybe you do know the answer, but you're not understanding the question. And it's okay to have that kind of dialogue. And then the last one is to follow up. Send that thank you note, and then anything that was promised. I am a stickler for, we interviewed somebody last week, and one of my team members said, Cynt, she never followed up with a thank you note. And did you get one? And I said, no. Then I asked somebody else, and I said, oh, wow. I mean, that's kind of intense, because you expect somebody to just follow up and thank you for your time. So you want to do that. That's just being nice. That's just courteous. So that's my list.
Wow. That was amazing. And you mentioned a lot of one-on-one coaching. I mean, I'll ask for high point. Would you mind if we use that list as the game plan for high point?
Of course.
So you just got
I love this place.
One-on-one career tips on how to bring your A game to the interview from Cynt Marshall. Now I want to pass it over to the audience. If y'all had any questions to ask Cynt now.
How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm just great.
If you're the only woman in a room, how do you make sure that you have everyone's respect?
If you're the only
woman in a room, how are you making sure that you're getting everyone's respect?
Okay, well, first of all, I just assume that they are all smart enough to realize the value of me being in that room as the only woman and what I bring. I just assume that, okay? And so I don't get hung up on that I'm the only one. I just try to participate like everybody else. If I am talked over, which sometimes will happen when you're the only woman in the room, I have finally gotten to the point, ideally you want somebody else in the room to say, what's your name? Savannah? Ideally you want somebody else in the room, some man in the room to say, excuse me, Savannah was talking, or Savannah had that idea, let Savannah finish. That's ideally what should happen, people, fellas, when something like that happens. You step up and you're an ally, and because we're all responsible for creating an inclusive environment. When it doesn't happen, then you let them go on, and then you stop and say, I was speaking, and so I'd like to finish, if that's okay, and you just finish, okay? You have to make people respect you. I have, and especially with the Zoom thing now, I notice with virtual, sometimes it's gotten worse, and people talk over you. So I actually have a hat that says I'm speaking, and I have a cup that says I'm speaking, and I actually have a t-shirt that says I'm speaking, and I have a mask that says I'm speaking, okay? And so every now and then I'll put up my cup, and I'll just do it like that, because this one guy, this broadcast guy, I don't know what his problem is. And I had no idea how to talk to him. So I kept putting up my cup, and then here's what was beautiful though. By the time I called him, the three other guys who were on the call, when I called him, he goes, Cynt, I'm so sorry. I said, how do you know what I'm calling you about? And he had heard from all 3 men on my team. Wow. About what he had done. Wow. Now, he hadn't heard from them like he was getting ready to hear from me, okay? But he had heard from them. And they all said they were so disturbed, and they were trying to figure out if it was appropriate for them to take him on right then. And then, but they kind of read me. And I was calm, and I just had my cup up, and I just thought, I'm gonna have to call this guy when this is over, right? And so now, but he said how much he appreciated it, because he's focused on it now. He's aware of what he's doing. And it really did come down to, I mean, I was the only one he was, and I was the boss too, but I was the only one he was cutting off because he was letting all the other guys talk. And so every now and then you'll run against something like that, but you just have to assert yourself in a very gracious way. And sometimes you have to do the follow-up afterwards. But we're all responsible for creating an inclusive environment, for making sure people foster inclusive behaviors, because you will run into that. Thank you for the question, Savannah.
Yes, please.
You talked about how when you first started out in the working world, how you kind of kept your head down and just focused on work, and you eventually evolved into becoming more extroverted and kind of pursuing those networking opportunities. So my question is, how do you balance kind of those two mindsets, where there are times where you have to kind of keep your head down and maintain or excel at your job performance, but also still pursuing those future and those upcoming opportunities?
I think thank you for the question. I think part of it is you have to, I'm big on the schedule. And so if you know what's coming up, you just plan for it. You just say, okay, twice this month, I'm going to show up to something. I'm going to go out. It needs to be for a purpose. It's not just showing up. I mean, some people have very robust personal lives. I'm one of those. I got enough stuff going on in my personal life, and I got 4 kids. It's like, I'm not trying to show up to everything they're having at work. Okay, that's why the basketball is good, because like the kids like to come to the game. Okay, so sometimes you just have to pick 1 or 2 things and say, okay, I'm going to show up to this because I need to, and there should be a reason. Okay, I need to show up to this. I'm going to go to that, and that's it. You can't show up to everything, and then you just keep it all together. But you have to plan for it. You have to really plan for it. Otherwise, it'll just get crazy. You'll end up missing the deadline because you were over at this networking event. It's like, no, because you got to get your work done. You got to get your work done. And some of this stuff is just built into work. And so some things where everybody is off going to do this. Nobody is there with their head down. You want to seize those opportunities. You want to go to. Instead of saying, ooh, well, I can go get this done while everybody's gone. I can really like work on this. No, sometimes you got to go with them. You're welcome.
Yes.
Yeah, so I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for coming and dedicating your time. I think I can speak for all of us, and it doesn't mean a lot.
Oh, thank you. What is your name?
My name is Jeff.
Jeff. What year are you?
I'm a sophomore.
Oh, I love it. I'm about to hire Jeff. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, my question is kind of what determines your why behind what you do, and how do you find your drive and your motivation?
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love that question, and we only have a few minutes, so I'll just give you the short version. I love the question, what determines my why? I have a picture of my 4 children, and they are my why. I want to make sure, I have a picture of my 4 kids and my mom, okay? And I know my mom and her generation, they sacrificed so much so that I can be where I am now. And there's a saying that says, I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. I am truly my ancestors' wildest dreams. And so I want to get this right every day. And then I want to pour into people and give back every single day because I know of their sacrifices. My kids are my why because I want to do what I can to make sure they are living in a just, equitable society, and that they have opportunities, and that they have friends and coworkers who look like everybody in this classroom. And so I look at them and think, wow, I got to make sure the future is very bright for these youngsters. And so they are my why. And you're part of my why. I so love your generation. I think honestly, and I say it all the time, you can find me saying it out there on social media, I think you're the generation that's going to save us, okay? Because in some areas we've gotten a little bit off, and I love your generation. I just love what you do, the skills that you have, the people you run with, all of that. And so you're part of my why. At my age, I think people my age ought to be giving back to people your age and giving you every single thing you need to take this country forward. And so you're part of my why. I get up and do what I do every day.
Thank you. One more question. Did we have one more? Yes.
First of all, I'd also like to say thank you for speaking. I appreciate it, and I'm very.
Thank you. What's your name?
Nicholas.
Thanks, Nicholas.
Thank you. So my question is, as somebody who's majoring in sport management, do you have any interview preparation tips that apply to sports specifically, like in regards to talk about your experience or something else to bring up in an interview for that?
Yes, that's a great question. I think you need to be able to speak to the industry and where you think the sport and entertainment industry is headed, challenges that you think are out there. Just kind of give your view on what's happening. And it's also good to give your view about the fact that, we're part of something bigger. I mean, we are entertainment, and what that means and why that's important and how it can help us, through a pandemic, and how we can use it to help address social issues and all that. So kind of have it in a broader context and be able to actually speak to that. Talk about where you think the industry is headed in terms of technology. Where are we headed in terms of how people consume our product? So there are a lot of opportunities out there, and we talked about it in the class I was in with earlier, the sport and society class. There are a lot of opportunities out there where the sports industry can really help society. And so in terms of technology, the use of it, all of that, how we consume information, viewership, you name it. Currency, even the cryptocurrency, NFTs, all that stuff that we're involved in right now. We have a platform, we have an audience to help test a lot of this kind of stuff. Speak to some of that. And you'll be talking to people like me who won't know what the heck you're talking about. Like NFTs, cryptos, I know I'm supposed to know all, ooh, this is just too much. But then you know it. And then I'm like, okay, I don't need to know it. I just need to bring Nicholas in, okay? Like, so speak to all of that. The things that are up and coming and new in this space. And even envision, somebody asked me a question earlier, what do I think would be an issue 5 years from now that's not even an issue today? Speak to all of that. That's why I like these minds out here. Yeah. Speak to all of that. Thank you. You're welcome.
Well, Cynt, I believe that you made a lot of friends, not fans, today. And it's such a pleasure and a privilege to have this time with you, to pour into, and most importantly, add impact and add some impact and influence to our students here at High Point University. And it's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's give it up for Brandon. Thank you.